It's race week, bitches! Hop in! Welcome to the 1 hour, 1 brain cell podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Jordan is alive and well and awake for this episode of the show. We're recording on Thursday this week, so we can keep you up to date on all the latest news before we drop our episode on Friday. Welcome to the show.
Crazy. This is the latest we've ever done it.
It is.
We're so committed to the bit. Dang it.
Gosh darn, our gosh darn jobs, you know? God forbid we get paid to do stuff.
Our unpaid internship, yeah.
I am, of course, joined this week by also member of the Proletariat, Jordan. Welcome to the show.
I am. Proletariat Coffee. Thank you so much. I am joined by someone who celebrated his 19th birthday in Poland, Richie Flores. Are you familiar? Am I more chronically online than you this week?
What?
Yes. Okay. So finally, I know something you don't know. Okay. This was a random tweet I saw that was like, apparently when you turn 19 in Poland, you have to do a test to see if you could serve in the military. But somebody said, the tweet was just like, when you turn 19, Poland tests you to see if you can serve. And people have been like posting like all kinds of diva videos and like fan cams and edits and stuff. With people. And then been like, she turned 19 in Poland. So you turn 19 in Poland, you're serving.
I've seen that. Okay, yeah, I've seen that now. Mm-hmm. Yes. I wasn't sure the context, but we got there.
Yeah.
We got there. Big week, everybody. We're going to spend an hour and a half talking about Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Gaga?
we did...
Lady Gaga?
Jordan was making fun of me this week because Lucy Dacus put out a tweet asking for which song she should cover. And I said abracadabra, and I spelt Lady Gaga with a space in between the ga and the ga. And so I had to explain to you that I had to send you a voice text, which I never do. I don't think, maybe like twice. I think I've done that. I had to send you a voice text to explain my joke to you. And I still don't think you got it when I was trying to do with that tweet, but it made me laugh. So
yeah, we were emphasizing the second syllable there. It was one of the 4 types of Gaga. Yeah, she dropped her new record. It was 65 degrees and sunny today. And the UV index was 6, and that never happens here. This is like the first time all year. And I had my windows down, and I went to the store to go get emergency groceries because I'm literally home for 2 days before I turn around and leave again for a week. But I drove to the store earlier today and I had Mayhem playing, and it was like all is right in the world. Like, I'm no better than a plant. Like, you give me a warm, sunny day, I'm photosynthesizing. I'm having a great day.
I don't blame you there, because I was doing the same thing yesterday. I was listening to Mayhem on my way to work, and I had my windows rolled down and blasting abracadabra. And I almost texted you because I was like, do people think I'm okay as I pull up to this red light with Lady Gaga blaring from my speakers?
Screaming abracadabra. Yeah. It's people. You know what? People don't think you're okay. They know you're okay. That's a girl who's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, let's dive into it, shall we? I'm going to start with this because how much of the I know you were gone, so you probably just caught clips. How much of the Lady Gaga SNL episode did you see? Or did you see clips at least? I know you saw these clips. I sent them to you.
I watched pretty much all the clips. I didn't watch the full episode, but I saw pretty much everything. That she was singing in like every skit. They really
Yes.
she was singing like rent was due. Reheating nobody's nachos. We're not doing that anymore.
There were some.
Please.
Oh, there we go.
While we're going. Finally got my hands on this boy.
Sugar free.
But the funny thing is, it's green, so it looks like the activator from the substance.
Wait, is it really? Oh, it
It's a little
is.
bit green. Yeah.
Yeah. Jordan is taking the substance on the show today.
Fine dining.
Respect the balance.
Yeah, it's my 7 days. Sit
I have
down
mine.
anymore.
I have mine in my fridge too, but I'm still drinking my coffee, so I don't know if I should double up on my caffeine.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
I've been known to do it in the past.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this. Sneaky, I did have one prior to the taste test on the show. Because I was planning on recording from my hotel room in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And then that didn't happen. So I had to drink it. It was supposed to be for a day, and the day that we ended up recording, and then we didn't end up recording while I was there. So I already had it. But I think I texted you about it. It's supposed to be grapefruit and blossom.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get the grapefruit, but especially with the sugar-free, I don't really get a lot of the like floral, which I think is good for me personally. I don't want to taste like I'm drinking ladies' perfume.
Yeah.
And a lot of time with the like floral notes and stuff, it can come off that way. I don't know if it would be my go-to, but it's very drinkable. It's very palatable. It's not like super overwhelming. It would go good with a lot of other stuff. It kind of looks like Baja Blast now that I look at it. It would go good with other stuff if you were to like mix it with some other fruit juices or like alcohol. If you're of age, it would probably taste good, but it's like subtle. It's subtle Red Bull. It's not overwhelming Red Bull.
Yeah, I agree. I actually was surprised because I'm not usually a big fan of their like floral arrangement type ones.
Yeah.
This one was actually bearable. I went out and bought another one. It's in my fridge that I will drink at some point today. It's not on the show. However, I am very, very I'm trying to think of the word. I'm at a loss for words. We're recording this at 10:30 in the morning. I only woke up an hour ago, so this is.
Are you picky? Are you selective? Are you particular? What's the choice here?
Oh, there we go. I'm very turned off by that green color of the Red Bull. Why is that purple can green? That's weird. This is why you never.
The coconut one is blue.
The white one? The white can?
Yeah.
Bro.
But yeah, that's forbidden knowledge. You're not supposed to know what color the Red Bull is inside the can.
That's why I never pour out my energy drinks, because they are the weirdest and most off-putting colors in the history of mankind. But the thing is, like, we all know we're drinking poison at this point in our lives. Like, we know it's all going to kill us eventually. Yeah, but you know what? The ride is enjoyable.
Yeah, something will get me, but at least it'll taste good on the way. Cheers, Red Bull. Okay.
Back on track.
Put it back.
Yeah. What the hell were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Lady Gaga on SNL.
Yeah.
So, this episode was legit like one of the funnier episodes of the season because of how unhinged it was. Like you saw from some of the clips that I sent you, like truly, like whoever wrote these sketches this week were just like exhausted or something, because they were just flipping weird, man. And I love when SNL gets weird with it, and that's what they did. They had Gaga riding around on a motorized like luggage suitcase.
Yeah.
Iconic. Incredible.
My favorite is the restaurant with the Friendlies with the satanic ritual.
Yes.
It's like, this is a common thing where sometimes people will go to a restaurant and say that it's their birthday when it's not their birthday, to get free drinks or dessert or whatever it is. And this one just descended into full satanic panic, where it was like the gods of Friendlies got summoned, and then Molaram from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom showed up, and I was having a great time at that point because I love that movie. But it was very hilarious, and I think it was like sort of tongue in cheek, just like poking at the fact that everybody thought that Gaga was like a devil or like a cursed
Right.
earlier on in her career. She's like, she's spreading Satanism to the children. Like when the Illuminati was a thing, everybody thought Beyonce was Illuminati.
Right.
It was like, this is dumb. This is such a culture panic.
That sketch made me absolutely die laughing. The other one, the other one that I loved and had me cracking up way too much. There were two. There was the digital, like the pre-taped one, Pip, where it's the little mouse.
Yep.
Like, god damn it, that shit was too much. That shit was so good. Again, just this episode was like, I swear it was like, some people tune into SNL for like the political humor, whatever. For us, it's just be as weird as possible. And this entire Gaga episode was like straight towards our sense of humor. I feel like it's just
I think it says a lot about us. Like if you go back and forth and find out what like our favorite SNL skits are, it's like most of mine have Kate McKinnon in them, but they're like the one with Billie Eilish about the hotel.
Yeah.
Adele doing the tourism ad for Africa, or Diner Lobster. That's an all-timer. But it's the ones that are just completely bonkers, off the rails, and like bringing Mola Ram into a family restaurant. It's like that's an all-timer.
Pip. Some people didn't like the Pip sketch as well, but I loved it. I thought it was just absolutely ridiculous. We also had, now my other favorite was Mikey Day showing up at the update desk doing Lord Gaga. Again,
Lady Gaga's husband.
Something that shouldn't actually work and be funny, but I was cracking up the entire time. Just silly, because it was absolutely silly.
Yeah, it was like that joke was right there. You might as well do it. Yeah.
And then of course, No More Slay, the song with
Bowen.
With Bowen Yang.
I feel like this whole episode was under the creative direction of Bowen Yang. And we really should say thank you, because they did a great job and he was living a dream.
Yeah, and we got a reference to reheating nachos in that, which had me dying.
Yeah. Her nachos are her own. They're nobody else's. No More Slay. Yeah.
And then we got to the performances, because we got Abracadabra and we got Killa, and they were both incredible. Lady Gaga's mic was on for Abracadabra, for sure.
Yes, it was. I feel like that's a common thing, is that people, like live performers on SNL, sometimes sound kind of bad, and whether it's just like the mixing or whatever it is, but there have been a handful that are like, the mic was on, they came prepared, and it was incredible, and this was certainly one of those.
I love the I was surprised she actually did Killa instead of doing one of the other songs from the album. The performance was so cool, because it was like, it's a song that is very much reminiscent of Prince, and walking out in the purple outfit with like a hat tip. I thought that was cool.
A lot of that happens in the album, I think, and it's because now we're not reheating anybody's nachos anymore. We are saying that they were creatively inspired by the influences of other artists. There's a heavy Prince drag on this album. There's a heavy David Bowie drag on this album. There's Michael Jackson. There's Madonna. There's like one of them, like Perfect Celebrity, is very like more rock centric. It's like the Rolling Stones. It's like The Cure. It's Radiohead. But like you could tell that there's inspiration from 80s, 90s dance, disco, synth pop. And a lot of it sounds very different than the singles we've heard, which, like, to your point, I thought we would get maybe Disease, or we would get something else like from the early tracks of that record on SNL. But I like Killa, and I think live it probably grew on a lot of people.
I agree. It's like slowly becoming like one of my go-tos that I listen to over even like You know, Abracadabra and Killer are probably my two like most listened to songs for the bunch. I do like How Bad Do You Want Me To? That's very Taylor Swift
It's very
influenced.
1989 Taylor's version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
But I'm cool.
Um,
I'm cool with that because that's I love musicians that aren't afraid to bounce and kind of move in different directions and different genres. And all music is one giant homage anyway, right?
mhm.
Where nothing is completely original anymore in music. Like it's, you know what I mean? You have, and so you're going to have stuff that sounds like others and influences, and that's okay. And that's the beauty of music. And it's as it continues to evolve. So I'm okay with her doing her version of Taylor because it's a great cool sounding song. And
Yeah.
this is exactly why I will listen to Mayhem more than I ever will listen to Brat.
Okay. I don't like Brat. I don't like all of Brat in the
Yeah.
album spectrum. This has always been like a defensible thing for me is like sometimes there are albums you like by an artist and then sometimes there are just artists you like
Mm-hmm.
and regardless of what that artist puts out, you find a way to, make a home with whatever sound they've chosen. It's like back in the old days the old days back in my day um before we were, and I guess this is still the case with like blind buying a vinyl or a CD or something, but it's like before streaming was a thing, you didn't have any idea what stuff was going to sound like. You just had to go buy it on iTunes or buy
Mm-hmm.
physical media or whatever and just take a shot and be like, well, I hope this is good. And sometimes it was not, but sometimes it was. But for artists like Lady Gaga that have always, and to some extent like others that have not been afraid to just take swings and find a different sound, it's like the album grows on you because you love the artist. And I think a lot of that is the case here. Like, yeah, it sounded different than the singles we were given, but like it's still awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
top to bottom, it tells a story. It fits. I didn't have any idea how Die with a Smile was going to fit on this track list. And then lo and behold, it does. It fits perfectly right where it is.
I would just like to point out that I think it's funny that Nathan and Nora with every single album make fun of this all the time. They make fun of that song "Die with a Smile" because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the number one songs like around the world for the last year, and nobody's ever heard it. Like it's not played anywhere. It's not played on the radio. And
All right.
so when that song came on, I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the first and only time I've ever heard that song.
Really? I actually like that
Yes,
song. Yeah. I like that song. I can't trust Nathan though, because Nathan famously was texting during Muna, so we're
that's
beefing.
yes,
Me and
that's
Nathan.
true. Yeah,
And doesn't know how to spell Julian Baker.
yes, that's so true. There's another reason too. I don't exactly remember what on a different
I want to
episode.
say it was something about golf. For some odd reason, I feel like it was golf related. He was like, I would rather be golfing than insert thing here. But
Yeah, I remember I texted you about it because he said something and I sent it to you and we're like, oh, there's another check mark.
maybe I can find it here.
But they haven't put out their reaction to Mayhem yet. I know they recorded it because I saw they were talking about it. So I'm interested to hear both of their thoughts on this record,
Mm-hmm.
and hear what they have to say about it for sure. As we do like a rip-off version of their show on our show.
But not nearly as good. But
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. So I only have a text. I don't have the original text, but I said, this is a text that I sent to you that says, I have no sympathy for a man texting about golf during Muna and misspelling Julian Baker. And then I also have one that said he compared Muna to Lesbian the 1975.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for texting me those things so I can just pull it up and find the evidence. Receipts.
Oh, and the other one I have is Nathan opened every single album this week with my Spotify rap thinks I'm gay.
All of us that got like one, got Burlington, Vermont. You remember way back on our first episode when we all got Burlington, Vermont? And then this past year when people got Pink Pilates Princess Pop or something, like that was like the theme of your year. That was like, I see you. I see you. And I'll be seeing you at a Chapel Roan show sometime soon, it seems.
We need to start manifesting our All Things Go tickets.
We were talking about this me last yesterday. Night. I'm scared. Yeah. I'm scared. I'm afraid.
Yeah, we're screwed unless they do like last year they did 2 dates in 2 different cities. They need to do like
we're still screwed. We got screwed last year and we tried 4 different times.
They need to do
I'm not over it.
They need to do like 4 different cities around the country or something like more, or play in a stadium. You know, don't play in front of like a tennis court where they were playing last year in New York City. You know, like they could.
Forest Hills is cool though. Forest Hills is cool, but yeah, I see your point. Sell more. Make a venue that can sell more tickets.
Yes.
Find a venue that can sell more tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still mad about that. I'm genuinely in fear for our lives and our odds this year on that. I don't think it's happening. If it's even half the lineup it was last year, because everybody on that list has just skyrocketed since.
Absolutely.
We don't have it. We don't have a snowball's chance in hell.
We're screwed. I think, well, here's the thing. Part of it last year, I'm okay with that because we did not get the All Things Go, but the karma came back around and I ended up somehow sneaking my way into JB tickets when there's no chance we would ever should have been able to do that either.
That's true. That is really true. So I don't know. Everything worked out. Everything worked out as it should have, but
and now you have a set list hanging on your wall.
I do. And it rained. I remember it rained that whole weekend at All Things Go, and it was just like muddy and gross and like it would have been. And famously, you and I do really well in the rain at concerts. No sarcasm at all.
We're 2 for 2 in our
we're 2 for 2. So we would have had a little bit of a bad time there in like Doc Martens Mudslide Apocalypse episode title. But we'll see about this year. If it's somewhat closer to where I live, I would be willing to drive for it. It's the plane tickets are going to be a cost, an investment.
Oh yeah, because now we have to pay for bags on Southwest. Freaking losers.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah, it was like no more free bags, no more picking your own seat. Southwest is now the enemy. They're the capitalist airline.
They are the capitalist airline. They are the bourgeoisie of airlines now. They were once the proletariat.
They were once for the people. They were once
part of the proletariat. Yeah.
Southwest was once the proletariat airline, and now that's like Frontier or Spirit. And you have to fly the plane yourself if you want proletariat prices.
Pretty much. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, you can check a bag, but you have to strap it to the wing of the airplane, and if it flies off, that's on you. We're not responsible.
All right, back on track. What the hell were we talking about? I'm so confused.
I don't know. I'm gonna pick a couple of favorites from the album, though. Yeah. I'll see if you agree with me. Obviously, the 2 lead singles were real good, Disease and Abracadabra. This first 5-track run, I'm looking at the list right now in front of me, but Disease, Abracadabra, Garden of Eden, Perfect Celebrity, Vanish Into... It's all good. Vanish Into You, Killa at number 6, which was a little switch up. Vanish Into You hit a switch up there on the tone of the first 4 songs. And then Killa hit another switch up. And then 7, 8, 9, Zombie Boy, Love Drug, How Bad Do You Want Me? Another elite run. Switch up, Don't Call Tonight. Shadow of a Man, switch up. The Beast, Blade of Grass, Die with a Smile. I don't know. They're all good. They're literally all good. But I've been listening to Love Drug the most, probably seconded by Zombie Boy, Garden of Eden, Vanish Into You. I'm front heavy on this album. Mostly because Blade of Grass makes me upset. I can't listen to this.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. Because you know this about me. I don't listen to particular songs generally. I'll just press play on an album and play it straight through. So like those first 6 songs are my jam. That's like half of it. It's like that's my normal drive anywhere is like 30 to 40 minutes. And so
Sure.
that's about I get through those first 6 songs on any particular drive and I'm happy. I'm a happy man. Happy man.
Mm,
I actually do like Garden of Eden's kind of a banger too, man. That's a
such a
low key
banger.
that's a low key banger.
High key banger. Absolutely.
Produced
I
by
was
our
really
guy.
sad because I just spent how many hours? 7 hours round trip driving around between Indiana and the state of Ohio. But I had a car full of boys who like were certainly not gonna appreciate if I just put this album on repeat the whole time. So I got stuck listening to like Travis Scott, uh, Post Malone, Kendrick Lamar, which I was fine with. Um, Don Tolliver, like just the Mac Miller, fine also, but like we oscillated back and forth between like
Hmm.
chill rap and like aggressive rap for like a week straight. And by the time they got out of the car last night, I was like, get out, and then cranked it up and put on Love Drug and was like just returning the car like like just trying to, see how it felt to have that up with the windows down for the first time because I hadn't
Hmm.
experienced that yet.
Right.
Um it's good. It's a banger of an album, like front to back. There are really no skips. It just depends on if you're in this. I say this about every other Taylor Swift album too, is like as long as you're in the right state of mind to listen to it front to
Hmm.
back, there are no skips.
Yeah.
If you're having kind of a sad day, you might want to skip some of the ones at the back that are just gonna poke at the open wound a little bit. But like if you're having a bad day, listen to the first five in order and it'll fix it. That's the substance.
That's
Tracks 1 through 5, the substance.
the substance. Yep. Respect the balance. Respect the balance
Mhm.
between the front and back half of the album.
Yeah, right. You have to
There's
listen
your
to only
joke.
the front half for 7 days, and then you have to listen to only the back half for 7 days so that we keep it even.
Yes, exactly.
God
Um,
bless.
yeah, so I think we have our early front runner for album of the year so far. I think
Oh
uh,
yeah,
there
yeah.
hasn't been much.
I'm no competition.
Yeah, there hasn't been much else released in the first few months of the year, as far as I know. It's going to get tougher as
Hmm.
we move into the spring and whatnot. Here we have Lucy's coming out here in a couple weeks.
Hmm.
We have JB and Torres coming out next month. We have the Haim sisters dropped Relationships this week, which is a flippin' banger of a song. I've had
Hmm.
that one on repeat. You know I love me some
Also
Haim
good.
sisters. So
We love Haim on this show.
and then we have Muna 4, which is allegedly seemingly coming out at some point this year.
Allegedly,
Seemingly.
allegedly.
Seemingly.
It's just a stray piece of hair I keep
They've been I
catching
know
on
they
my
were
fake
teasing us.
television.
They were like, "Hey, Chaotic's going away. We're going to go make Muna 4." They just
Yeah,
effed off for a year and don't have anything to show for until 2026. That would piss off so many people, including me. I like
they
Muna.
just
Don't
they
get me
just go to
wrong.
darkness retreat and they're like, "LOL, just kidding. We're not actually making Luna 4. We're just getting off the internet for a minute because you all are crazy."
The most online band in the
Hmm.
world.
Hmm. The greatest band in the world, the most online band in the world. Yep.
Absolutely. I will shout out to them. Specifically, I think it was Naomi specifically, but they were talking about a couple books on one of their most recent chaotic episodes.
Hmm.
Um, and I actually ended up reading one of them, and it was probably my favorite book I read in a very, very long time.
Wow, you can read.
Oh my God. Get out!
It was right there. It was right there. Please tell us about it. Sell the people.
Yeah. This will be a perfect transition too, because I have another
Mm.
story to tell. Okay, so anyway,
Okay.
the name of the book is called Shock Doctrine, and it is it is not it won't be the jam for pretty much anybody outside of myself. It just happened to fill a very specific niche for me. Which
Mm.
anyway, the book is about essentially the post World War II increase in like uber capitalism over the last 50 years.
Mm.
And so it talks about how this particular economic theory of like neoconservatism like rose over the past 40 and 50 years, and it led to our current situation, which is out of control, uber capitalism everywhere.
Yeah.
And it is a terrific,
Ultra capitalism, ultra consumerism. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a terrific read. It's it's really fascinating. It is. This book came out in 2007. Okay, so this even came out before the financial crisis in 08, 07, 08.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, it's a 15, almost 16, it's what, 17-year-old book, and it is still just as relevant today as it was back then. And it is terrific. If you want to try and understand our current situation, I recommend checking it out. It is available at your local library because I listened to it for free through my library, and it was great.
Oh, so you can't read. The funniest thing I see about this when I Google it, because I was looking to find out who the author was.
Yeah.
When you Google this book, it gives you its Dewey Decimal System number, which is so unhelpful. Like, what am I going to do with that information? Like, sure, the books on my shelf at home are definitely organized by the Dewey Decimal System. Yeah. Like, just in case you were trying to categorize by something other than alphabetical, here's its Dewey Decimal number. I'm like, that's not helpful for anyone who doesn't work at a library. But thank you, Google.
Anyway, so yeah, I gave that 5 stars. You can follow me on Goodreads if you want. Go find me on Goodreads. I've gotten through, like, I think I've done 4 books so far this year, which is kind of crazy, and I'm working on my 5th, and I have my 6th and 7th books planned as well, and whenever they decide to show up in my local library.
Yeah.
Support your local
I have a
libraries,
good one
folks.
for you. I have a good one for you that my mom sent to me. That you might also like, because she read it and she liked it, and then she sent me a copy, and I was like, oh, you must have really liked it to just go ahead and buy it and send it to me. And it was really good, and it has an F1 connection. It's like, it's World War II, like, historical fiction, but it has an F1 connection.
Oh, it's well, historical fiction.
Trust me on this. Trust me on this one. We're on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
it's a little long. It depends if you're, like, invested in it or not, but it's a really good story.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm lukewarm. I am generally off the fiction bandwagon for the most part.
Okay.
It's not 100% my thing.
So I wouldn't say it's fiction. It's a nonfiction base.
Yeah.
But it definitely, some of it has been dramatized, and, like, it's very rooted in a true story, but, like,
yeah,
the absolute facts of all of these things occurring is unknown. Because it's like one super old Italian guy's story about his life. It's like, some of this is definitely over dramatized, but, like, if it's true, it's incredible. If it's 100% true, it's incredible. I think there's also some controversy about it. So it was like, how much of this is real? Yeah.
Controversy.
Little spicy Goodreads.
You know what? I trust you. I trust you. I will at least give it a try because that's, I've done, because this is the perfect transition here. It's almost as if we planned this out, even though we didn't. So, Corey is a big fan of, the dark romance, universe, I guess, or
sure, like the trope or the genre.
Yeah, the genre.
Yeah.
And so her and I were talking about this like at 2:00. I kid you not, we were talking about this at like 1:00, 2:00 in the morning.
Nosferatu hours.
Because both of us can't sleep. Anyway, so like we were like sending, because I was like joking with her, was like, I'm getting these book talk TikToks now showing up on my TikTok page, and so I would send them to her, and so they'll pop up, and so we got to talking about it, and she's like, and she recommended that I read one particular book from this genre, and so I started reading this book. Okay. When I say reading, I mean I'm listening to the audiobook, which makes it so much weirder. But anyway, the name of the book is called Lights Out. Are you familiar with this?
There's a horror movie called Lights Out. I don't think this is the same thing.
Yeah, Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. Allen.
No, okay. So I see that. That is not the horror movie I was thinking of. The horror movie I was thinking of is like when you literally like there's a creature and like an entity that like can only move if you like have the lights off.
Uh,
So it's essentially like very scary hide and seek.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very
No,
Weeping
it's not
Angels-esque
that.
too.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's very Sleeping Angel. Yeah, it's not that. So go ahead.
Anyway,
I don't know.
so
I don't know any. Proceed.
so I'm currently reading this book. I am 6 chapters in, and so I'm not gonna like get into the details of anything for the most part, but I'm just gonna give you the very overview. So I'm trying to like this book. I really am, because it's so different from anything else I've ever read. Concerning what I just told you about reading a very like dark book, essentially about the
Like
current
biography.
state
Like
of our
the stuff you read
economics.
is like here's the financial crisis. Here is the rise and fall of rich energy. Here is the J. Robert Oppenheimer biography.
Yeah.
You like the biography, autobiography, historical
Yeah.
nonfiction. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
You don't
And
belong
so,
on Book Talk, but you ended up there anyway.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And like here's like the two characters at the basis are perfectly, interesting. The story itself is actually like fairly interesting and no different from any other like romance movie you would see that's a little bit on the darker side. But dude, I kid you not, I'm listening to this in my car for the most part. So I am driving. Like I'm driving home from work. And the amount of detail this damn book gets into is just too much.
It's like it's spicy, but it's in detail spicy. Oh yeah, I can't be doing that in public.
It's so uncomfortable. I kid you not.
Some people will just read that in public, and that drives me crazy. I would be like looking over my shoulder like the whole time.
I'm just like, yeah, and so I'm getting there. I'm gonna try and finish it. I think I will finish it at some point. It's gonna take me a while to do it. But yeah, so at least I'm dipping my toes into the dark romance smut era. Richie, I'm in my smut era. I don't know how people do it, man. It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable.
This is, I guess I could transition to my story with this because I was planning on telling an old hockey story on the podcast, but related to that, I have an old hockey story that was my senior year. We took a bus from Arizona to Salt Lake City for playoffs, which is like a 10 or 13-hour drive or something absolutely insane. And some of those like charter buses will have like the DVD players that have like the movies, but you have to like put a physical disc into the DVD player above like the driver, and then it plays the movie for everybody's TVs. And on the way there, it was like relatively normal. Like the bus driver had Shrek 1 through 4, and we watched Shrek 1 through 4 in order. And I fell asleep at the beginning of 2, but I made sure that they woke me up for the fairy godmother karaoke scene in Shrek 2. And then I fell asleep again for like the rest of it. And then once everybody else was asleep, my roommate and I decided to put on The Exorcist director's cut. And it was like pitch black, and we had The Exorcist on the TVs on the bus, which was like very scary, but also very much an us thing to do. But on the way back, we were like pouring through the DVD collection, whatever it was. I forget what we watched prior to this, but for some unknown reason, somebody had 50 Shades of Grey. And this went on the bus TVs. And I just remember our coach took a jacket and wrapped it around the TV so that she didn't have to see it, and just fell asleep. And the rest of the girls in the bus were sitting in the back, like all crowded around like one TV trying to watch it. But it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen, that our coach was just like, I hate you all. I'm going to sleep. I don't want to see this. And she just took a coat and wrapped it around the TV screen and tied it and went to sleep. But braver than me. If you went to see 50 Shades of Grey in public somehow, braver than me. Brave soldier. Not for me.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on that. There's another
hard pass.
There's, speaking of that, there's 2 movies from what I understand on Netflix that
Hmm.
that are I kid you not, um, like uh, that Scotty and Kat and Corey all try to get me to watch multiple times, but I absolutely
Oh God.
refuse to do it.
Yeah.
Look up the movie real quick. It's called 365 Days. This
Okay.
this is
This
like
is this is coming from you who like there was a prank one time where you had to see a butt on screen because you dislike on-screen nudity so much.
yes, exactly. That's why they're trying to get me to watch it. It's from what I understand, it is like basically softcore porn. But I so which is why I am like
The plot of this is crazy. Also, it was first released in Poland, so serving. Massimo is a member of the Sicilian mafia family, and Laura is a sales director. Boring. She does not expect that on a trip to Sicily trying to save her relationship, Massimo will kidnap her and give her 365 days to fall in love with him. No, thank you. No, thank you. Also, there's like a lot of them, apparently. There's like at least three of them.
Oh, there's more. Oh
Or
my god.
four.
Jesus. But anyway, I'm not watching that for the love of goodness. I
Woof.
yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
Nope.
But
I'm
yeah,
good.
anyway, yeah, I was once pranked. I got home late from work, and Corey was over at Kat and I's apartment, and and they intentionally had me go and pick up some like ice cream or something,
Hmm.
so that way they could try and time it so they knew when I was getting home.
So that you would walk in when there was on-screen nudity.
So I would walk in a scene where were way too many male genitalia to be seen on screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nope.
No, nope.
I've tried to. It was. I think it was from Euphoria. I think it was from Euphoria. It's from this particular scene. I was like, nope, no thanks.
A long time since, and I really only saw season 1, but I could not tell you. That's funny though. Hashtag pranked.
Pretty much. All right, let's wrap up the show where we can talk about. Oh wait, did you want to tell your other story? Sorry,
I can tell
more.
it. I can tell it quickly. I think I'll get through it. I texted my college roommate because I think I had mentioned that this happened to. Well, this was a whole team event that occurred, and I was like, "Do you have any information that you feel is pertinent and want to share for this?" I haven't received any voice notes or anything I can share with the class, but I did receive confirmation that this did happen, and that I'm not crazy. But I texted, I was like, "Do you remember the cursed sleepover with the dark hide and seek when we were on Lady Coyotes, which was the team?" And the text I got back said, "I will never forget." So I corroborated this story with at least one other person. I'll try to tell it to the best of my ability because it's been some years now. I think I was probably 14 when this happened. Maybe older. Because I don't remember if this was I think this was the 19U team. So I must have been 15 or 16. But it was a 19 and under team. And so we had some older girls on this team. And we did like a team bonding thing where we had a sleepover at one of their houses. Like the whole team had a sleepover. Because it was like it was a big house. It was like one of those, Scottsdale houses, right? And I think this teammate's family was like in real estate or something. So they were like, fairly well to do. There were also like 6 siblings in that family, so they had the room. So we all went over there and we had a sleepover, and it was relatively normal. We were outside, like, playing basketball or whatever it was, and then like there was pizza, we were watching movies, and at some point somebody decided that we should play hide and seek in this house. I don't know whether this was strategic or not, but realistically, there were only like 2 or 3 girls on that team that probably knew the layout of this house, like front to back. One of them was the person that lived there. So the older girls really knew what this house was. The rest of us were going over there for the first time. We were completely blind. And you don't really question it when like the seniors on the team are like, "Hey, we're going to play a game." We're like, "Okay." So it was hide and seek. And then it became hide and seek in the dark. And then it became hide and seek in the dark with the most horrifying soundtrack I have ever heard playing on the speakers like throughout the house. They had one of those like Sonos like sound systems. Like I don't remember what it was at the time, but it was like whatever you played on the TV or on the speakers in the living room, you could put through the whole house. So somebody went on YouTube and found this like haunted house scary ambiance, right? And they were like, okay, go. And none of us have ever been to that house before, so we scatter, and you're at a significant disadvantage if you're hiding and seeking in a place that you've never been. So we book it into like the first room. A couple of us book it into the first room that we find, and it's like the younger sister's room. We're like, this is probably a decent spot. And there's like room under the bed. So we're looking at it. We're like, we could probably go under the bed, but there's no like bed skirt or anything. So like we'd have to like kind of pull the comforter down so that it hides the edges. Like in case somebody opens the door and looks, they're not just going to see us like lying under the bed, like cargo. And so we're like, oh, there's a closet in this room. So we pull open the closet. Nothing on this earth could have prepared me for what was in this closet, because we pull it open, we flick on the light. There are about 100 to 150 vintage, very scary, very awful porcelain dolls in that closet, arranged in shelves. And the light is flickering because, of course, it is, right? It's like a bad bulb. But we turn on the light and the light goes zzz, 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 and it just is illuminating those dolls. We're like, absolutely not. Shut the door. We're like, you could not pay us to go in that closet and hide in there and wait for someone to come find. No, not a chance. And so we all scoot under the bed. There's like 3 of us that scoot under the bed, and there's like a Fruit Loop down there. Like it's just the under the bed. So we slide under there. And we're hiding, and it feels like we're hiding forever. And meanwhile, the whole time, there's this scary ambiance happening. So at some point, I get up and I walk out to the front door, and I kind of poke my head out to like see if I could see if anybody's in the hallway or not, because the 2 senior girls are like running around the house trying to find people. And I poke my head out, and it's like the hallway from The Nun, right? Because it's like just this long hallway. And there's like those sconce lights like every so often, but they're turned so far down that they're basically dim. I'm like, there's going to be an entity at the end of this hallway. There simply is. It's just a matter of when, not if. So I go ahead and shut the door again, and we go back under the bed. We start hiding for a long time, and we really don't hear anything. And I think maybe that's the scariest part, because at some point we're like, should we just surrender? Because we've been here for like 20 minutes and like no one's finding us, and usually hide and seek happens pretty fast. Like no one's even opened the door. We've not heard anybody go by. Like we should just surrender. So we cowards raise our hands, white flag, go out into the living room where the, found players are supposed to gather. And it's like the living room, dining room, and they have this big round dining room table. It literally looks like a seance table. Like it's really strange. We're like sitting around the seance table, just waiting for them to go find other people. And again, scary music still happening. I don't know how long this video was. It was probably like 1 hour haunted house lo-fi ambience or something. We're sitting there around this table, and we start hearing this noise. We're like, it has to just be the video that's on the TV, but we can't confirm where it's coming from. But it sounds like scratching, and it's like nails. It's like scary claws, like scratching. We're like, what is that? And it sounds close. We've never been to this house before. We're 15 years old. It's pitch black. We're scared. We keep hearing the scratching. We're like, what is that? There's no way. And we turn and look, and to our right is like the dog door leading to the outside. And there's these eyes outside the dog. It's just the dog, but it was like the eyes out the dog door, and the dog was scratching, trying to come in. And it was like, oh, that's not scary anymore. And all of a sudden we hear the most shrill scream, screech, demon noise that we've ever heard. Like if you were in a horror movie, that was the last thing you would hear before you die. It was unlike anything I've ever heard before. And so all of us jump on the table. We're like sitting on this giant great wood seance table in fear for our lives. And then all of a sudden the senior girls come running back in. I don't know, don't tell me, but at some point they ended up with roller skates on. I can't confirm how this happened, but they come flying back in. And they're looking at us and we're looking at them. They're like, did you hear that? We're like, yeah, that wasn't you. It was like, who was that? And so now we're all scared. Turns out it was literally just the end of the video, but because none of us had ever watched that video before or played it, we didn't know that there were demon noises at the end. So it was like just the end of the YouTube video, but because the sound was going on through the whole house, we all heard it and we all got terrified and everybody gave up at that point and we didn't play hide and seek anymore, but I don't think anybody slept well that night. It's like we were scared. We were in fear. Horrible.
No thanks.
Yeah.
That is a very traumatizing experience.
Mm-hmm.
At least it sounds
but
like
I'm
it.
glad that other people remember it too, because I feel like if I had been trying to tell that story for the first time, the amount of like weird details that were present in that would have been like, this didn't actually happen. There's no way. It's like, yeah. The seniors were roller skating with blue wigs on, but I don't know when or why that happened. I don't know if that's important to add, but I feel like I should include all the details.
Iconic. Incredible. I'm just picturing this becoming like a thing for the you said U19 team where it's like as you like once like you got older, that was the prank that you played.
Yeah, it's like initiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was no one's intention. Like we were all so scared because nobody knew that there was that noise at the end of this video.
That's too funny. All right, we can wrap up the show now. Dang, you just chugged that. Holy cow.
It was only 8 ounces, and it's been over the course of an hour.
I guess that's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
that's
okay.
Fine. Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah. I mean, we both can chug our Red Bulls, so that's nothing new. Nothing new. Next time I see you, we're doing a chugging competition.
Shotgun a Red Bull? Yeah. We all know how that usually goes for you based on our show's intro, so.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've never done it before. I would be too afraid that I would like poke into the carbonated part and just explode it.
Oh, I mean, that's basically what I did.
Yeah, that's my fear.
Squirting everywhere. Yeah, that was the one and only time I've done. Yeah, that is the one and only time in my entire adult life that I have shotgunned a beer ever. Never done it. That was the first and only time I've ever done it. It was on a live stream.
Clearly.
I never. I didn't go to parties. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, look at me. I'm learning magic tricks in my apartment. I'm not going to parties. I'm not getting invited to parties. Yeah.
I mean, we previously discussed that your magic. Talk about a freaking seance. That was a. I still think you're a witch.
Maybe I am. What about it? We're all witches. We all enjoyed Agatha all along. We're all witches. Season 2 is coming home.
It's coming home. Oh, did you see it that they announced that they're starting to make? I sent it to you that they're making Vision Quest. Like Marvel, that's not what we asked for. Damn it.
Yeah, it was like one thing with female, like the Marvels was like one thing with female characters did sort of poorly critically, and then they were like, okay, no more women. And just everything that they're making in their projects from now on is like Daredevil, Vision Quest, Wiccan. What else are they? They're doing some other random things that I don't care about. Yeah. So we're all in on Thunderbolts. Obviously, is the short of this. Yeah.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. I'm not seeing Captain America: Brave New World. Nope, not doing that.
I'm just not interested. Not for me.
Yeah. Okay, we can wrap up the show with our Formula One predictions. I did go see a movie last week. If we have time, I can get into that too. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do Formula One predictions real quick. We're by the time you see this, practice will have already been done and dusted. So FP1 and FP2 will be out. Cars will be on track in Australia for the first round of 2025. Let's go through quickly our predictions. We did a little bit of this around testing, but we didn't actually make our predictions. So let's go through. Here's what I have to predict. I have the Drivers Champion, the Constructors Champion, the Rookie of the Year, and I also added in as a preview for this weekend if we think any rookies are going to score points in their debut. Debating whether or not to count Ollie and Liam in that. I don't know. We'll see.
I would count both of them purely because they've not finished a full F1 season.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Let's do that first. We'll go up. We'll go from the rookies, and then we'll go up to Drivers Champion. Okay. So Rookie of the Year, I am gonna go with Mercedes. I think is gonna be really quick this year, as we talked about in our testing thing. Mm-hmm. So I am fascinated to see how Kimi Antonelli does this year. He's adorable, by the way. He's like another like large adult son for us at this point, because like he was doing an interview with talking about like how much he adores Lewis Hamilton. I was like, you're adorable, Kimi. You're adorable. So I hope he does well. I hope he smokes George Russell. For the love of goodness, Kimi, please beat him as much as humanly possible.
Yeah,
so
put him in his place there.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how well Kimi Antonelli does this year. However, I believe that the Rookie of the Year is probably going to be Liam Lawson.
I'm going in a different direction with you there. I think it's Kimi's title to lose. Mm-hmm. If for some reason he doesn't keep up with George, I think it's his title to lose. I'm leaning toward Ollie Behrman. Mm-hmm. I would love to see Liam do well, but I feel like he's going to take more of a hit because no one can keep up with Max Verstappen in their first year in a Red Bull. It's just the performance gap between those two is going to be much more obvious than the gap between Russell and Antonelli or Ocon and Behrman, or even, down the chain, right? You look at Tsunoda and Hadjar, or you look at Bortoleto and Hulkenberg. It's, the disparity is going to be so large that I think Liam's going to get overlooked unless he has an incredible season.
Yeah, I can see that. I think my reasoning for taking Liam is, even though Mercedes is going to be quick this year, I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains with Kimi Antonelli. I don't think he's quite ready for that seat yet. I think he needed another year or two in F2 and to win more races in Formula 2. I think he only won one race, I think, if that, in Formula 2, and that may have been a sprint race. Like he wasn't challenging for wins with Prema. Even Ollie Behrman, he won more races than Kimi did, and that team just wasn't as competitive as some of the other teams. So I think there's just going to be a lot of growing pains with Kimi for me. So I can't pick him. I don't know what to expect from Haas this year. I think they can contend like they did last year for that 5th spot in constructors, but they did get off to a slow start in testing. So I think they're one of those teams that are going to get better as the year goes along. I like Ollie. I think he's one of the better drivers of this rookie class for me. Like he proved it last year. He went out and scored points in the 2 races he ran. He looked amazing in Saudi Arabia running that Ferrari last year. So I am taking Liam because he's got the most experience out of the bunch. I think he is a good driver, even though I do think he should have gotten that spot. I think he's got a little bit of Max in him in that he is like a take no shit driver. Like he will go for that gap that doesn't exist, and it's not gonna pay off, But so I do think it's gonna be Liam's to lose this year, for me, for Rookie of the Year at least.
All right. I could see it. That my literal only sticking point is like, I don't think they would have pulled as many strings and moved as many things for Kimi Antonelli as they did to get him into F1 had they not believed he was some kind of next generation talent. Yeah.
Heck, you can see. I was reading some stuff and like people were comparing the situations to Max, because people were saying the same stuff about Max when he was, how old was he when he first entered F1? 17?
Yeah.
they've since changed the rules, so he right, but like he's not Max. He'll never be Max. Nobody will ever match up to Max what he was as a 17 and 18-year-old. So, but again, I really do. I think there's going to be some growing pains with Kimi this year, and there's going to be a lot more than people expect. Hey, you can go through the list of these drivers who are still on the grid now who went through Red Bull when they were younger. And then
that second seat at Red Bull is cursed.
yeah. So like, I think that's maybe one of the. I don't know if it's a direct example, but it's coming into a team that is really competitive, that has a good car, and those second drivers just didn't measure up. And I wonder, like George Russell came into Mercedes at a time when Mercedes wasn't the team that they were, right? They were on their downturn by the time George came in, and so it was a little bit different. And he's handled it, about as good as you can, and won races there with Mercedes. So I am like you go like Pierre Gasly in and out, right, when he first came into F1, right? Same thing with Albon. He couldn't last in that second Red Bull seat. So I don't know. We'll see if Kimi is more along the lines of those guys or more along the lines of Max, basically, right? So we'll see. Who do you think is gonna, of the rookies that we were just talking about? Who's gonna score points this weekend? I was thinking about this last night because I came up with this. Because I was watching a video. Formula One put out a video on their YouTube page where they went through and they did like 10 debut drivers who scored points on their debut. And did you know that Kevin Magnussen peaked in his first race? He finished second. He finished second in his first ever race and just never got to that again. So he peaked in his first.
Pessimistic, but I think maybe Lawson will score 1 or 2 points, and maybe Behrman will score 1 or 2 points. I don't think the rookies are scoring in this race, especially because there's like a 90% chance of rain now.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to put on a kid.
Yeah, I think those are my two. Those are my two, and maybe throw. I mean, we were just talking about Kimi Antonelli in the rain. So I think I might agree with you there.
But they're going to be low. They're going to be P8, P9, P10.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting to see any of them challenge for top 5 or a podium.
Yeah, and then I'd throw obviously all of your top 3. So I think both Red Bull, both Ferrari drivers get in. Both McLaren drivers score points. So that's
Russell,
4 spots left.
Will score.
Yeah, Russell's 7, and so you have 3 points positions left. And we already mentioned Liam in there. So I'd probably go with like
Fernando Alonso, like put somebody else in there.
Yeah, like a Pierre Gasly at Alpine.
I could see Alpine.
And then Ollie Behrman. And then we're missing we're missing somebody. Somebody else has got to get that 10th spot. Give me Yuki. Get Yuki in the 10th spot. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like that. I think that'd be good.
All
yeah,
right.
it's going to be challenging conditions, so I don't know.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. I think it's gonna, dude, if it rains, please, for the love of goodness. So we're gonna get a Lando pole because it's in the dry. And then he's gonna botch that shit so quickly in the rain. And then we get to watch Max and Lewis masterclass in the rain. P1 and P2. Let's go.
I'm all for it.
All right. Constructors. Who you got for constructors?
McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull. I could see a switch at the top if because here's my reasoning is like I think, and this is my reasoning for the drivers title as well, but as Piastri gets better, he's gonna take points off of Norris. And Leclerc and Hamilton are both so good in a car that only got better last year. I could see number 1 going either direction. And for how close it finished last year, it could go either way again.
Yeah.
I think Red Bull's going to finish 3rd unless something disastrous happens and Mercedes gets in front of them. But to your point about like Antonelli and Russell, I don't necessarily like believe that their testing and like track feedback is going to be enough to keep that trajectory going in the right direction. I think a lot of the corrections they made last season were because of Lewis's input and not George's.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily trust that Antonelli and Russell will have that same feel and that same touch to send the development in the correct direction for that.
Right.
I think Mercedes could backslide toward the end of this season.
I saw the F1 TV folks they had like their preview that they put up on Thursday, and I didn't get to watch all of it yet, but they put up their chart in terms of like race pace, and it was McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari was fourth, which was like crazy. So
I don't believe that's the true potential out of that Ferrari car. I just don't.
Yeah, I tend to agree. This season's going to be so hard to predict because they're going to completely change things a third of the way through the season when they get rid of the flexi wings, and so then that's really going to even the playing field too. So I think once that goes away, then that is going to like if McLaren and Ferrari are the two kind of ones that people think they're going to have to get off to a ridiculous start in these first 8 races and really build some points, because after that, that's when things are going to get like thrown into a tizzy. And I think that's when Red Bull might be able to make their hay in terms of and really get better as the season goes along, as opposed to what they did last year. I really want to say Ferrari, but I don't. That's like hopium.
I don't think it's hopium. You have 2 of the most skilled drivers on the grid in a car that was outperforming its expectations at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I think that's totally possible.
So it's likely going to be McLaren, and I hate to say that. It's likely going to be McLaren again.
I do too. They just have a rocket ship. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so I'd probably go McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull.
Okay.
Yeah.
Driver championship?
Driver. I think you're right about there being a little bit of a split between Lando and Piastri this year. We've both been on record, especially me, saying that Oscar Piastri is the better driver. He's got the better temperament to be a world champion rather than Lando Norris for me. And I think he got the shit into the stick so many times last year, did Oscar Piastri. So if McLaren aren't careful, it's going to be exactly what happened in 2007 when Lewis and Alonso were teammates, and they were battling each other. And they weren't, and they lost focus, and then you get your, I think it was Kimi Räikkönen that won the championship in 2007. And I wonder if that might happen this year. And I wonder if that's just enough of a gap to where they sneak in, and it is a Lewis or Charles championship. Who that will be, I don't know. And that's one of the more fascinating things about this season is I don't know who Ferrari would favor in this situation. Both of these, I think Charles is easily World Driver Championship material. I think he's that good. He's a good driver, and he's proven that. So I as much as I want it to be Lewis, I don't see them going against Charles. I don't. Charles has been. I think Lewis is going to have some growing pains in the first 6 or 7 races of the season. It's going to take him some time, and I think Charles can take advantage of that. And I think so. I'm taking Charles, man. Come on, let's go.
All right. For the reasons you named, I'm out on either of the McLaren drivers winning. I think that's going to turn volatile if they don't start paying equal attention to Oscar Piastri as a driver. And they haven't really shown an inclination to do that so far. I think that whole thing could blow up. I could see a first for Leclerc. I could see an 8th for Hamilton. I could see a 5th for Max. It just depends how the trajectory of the Red Bull is. But based on early feedback, it seems like he's more comfortable in the RB21 now than he was with the RB20 at a lot of points last year. And I mean, you know me, but I think generally in F1, like, just the effect is that it's Max Verstappen. He's still Max Verstappen, regardless of what car you put him in, and he's always going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. What was this stat? Correct me if I'm wrong. I maybe have wiped this from my memory, or I'm just making it up. But even after Max had that terrific start to the season last year, there was a certain point in the season where he still outscored Lando.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the gap in points between the first part of the season to Miami. It was like I don't know, 63 points or something like that. And it was exactly the same, if not larger, in the second half of the season, despite how good Lando got, despite how fast the McLaren got, and how much the Red Bull regressed. That championship gap never reduced.
Yeah.
It's just still Max, regardless of that car. It's still part of it goes to the driver.
That's so crazy to me, man. Like, I was looking at some of the odds for Australia and for the Drivers' Championship, and the fact that you can have a 4-time world champion in the final year of a set of regulations that Red Bull have dominated and Max has dominated, and he's not the favorite and he's now the underdog, is really kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? Like, that's kind of wild. If I would have told you that, 6 months ago, like, are you crazy? Are you,
that's disrespect.
Like, if I would have told you that after 2023, let me change that. If I would have told you that after 2023, after Max Verstappen had the greatest season in Formula One history, you would have like, how is he? What do you mean he's not favored to win 5 in a row? Are you nuts? Mm-hmm. So can you imagine? Like, I'm curious what his mentality is, and he seems to be in his no F's given era at this point.
Yeah, he's in his chill era. Until the helmet goes on, Max is in his chill era, and then once he gets in the car, all bets are off. Yeah. That's that killer instinct.
And the Big Dad energy he's going to be rolling with this year too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, new pet parent, new child parent. It's you never know.
All right, there we go. So wait, who did you pick?
It's sort of a 3-way tie for me. Like, it could be, I think it will be one of the 2 Ferrari if it's not Max.
There you go. I'll take that.
But I still think it's 5 for Verstappen.
Okay. So you're picking Max. I'm picking Chuck.
I'm picking Leo. How about that?
Leo.
I'm picking Leo.
Pet world champion. All right. Quickly. I saw Mickey 17 last week. Mm-hmm. You seen the trailers for that one?
No, but I know what happens to Mickey 1 through 16.
You've seen all 16 movies?
Yeah, I've seen all of Robert Pattinson's filmography up to this point. He's had some gruesome deaths, really. Like the Goblet of Fire way back at Mickey 1, like that was tough.
That's so true. So I got so much crap for this from everybody else. So you've on the Letterboxd, you probably saw like the wave of Mickey 17 reviews come in, and everybody gave it like 4.5 stars from a few people that saw it. I think it's sitting around just below 4 on the Letterboxd rating.
Sure.
I gave it 2.5.
All right.
I gave it 2.5. Let me tell you why. I'm going to keep it as non-spoiler as possible. I'm going to speak in generalities. Okay, so Mark Ruffalo's in this movie. And the character he plays is very Trump-like.
Okay.
And he doesn't really make it ambiguous that that's what he's trying to do. And the movie doesn't make it ambiguous that that's what they're trying to do. Because they're all wearing red hats. Okay? Like that's how on the nose this is. And here's the thing, and I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, we are living in an era of Trump where everything's been exhausting. And so going to the movies and watching a Trump-focused movie for 2 hours just isn't what I want to do.
Yeah, it's not
And
that
it
fun.
was, and even though Robert Pattinson was great, and I liked the cast, and I liked bits and pieces of the movie, I was just so damn exhausted by the Trump of it all. Like, I get it. Trump is bad. I don't need to go to the movies for 2.5 hours to prove that to me. I live it
Yeah,
every day.
people go to the movies and consume art as a form of escapism
Yeah.
from the real world.
So, I don't know. Maybe this movie in 15 years you come back to and it holds up as a
Maybe.
piece of like being a part of its time. And I think that may be the case.
Yeah.
But living in the time we are now and going to watching this, it was just exhausting. And so I give it
Well,
two and a half stars for that
I'm
reason.
interested too. Like, do you feel jarred if you see like TV episodes or like movies from the pandemic era where like people were wearing masks and things? Like, I was watching Glass Onion the other day,
Right.
and it was real weird for me to like step back into that period of time where like people were wearing masks, because it was like we lived through that, but that doesn't feel like a thing that I'm necessarily like equipped or like looking to see on my screen. You're like, I don't need to relive that era. Like, I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. Yeah,
Maybe
for
that's
sure.
part of the same thing. That just like the period of it all, but because of the implications on like a grander global scale of those things, like either, public health or like politically or whatever, it's like kind of jarring to see that when you're actively participating in those events as well. You're like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'm trying to remove myself from that.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
again, my friends think I'm crazy for thinking that. But that was my main takeaway from the movie.
All right.
And
That's
so
what Letterboxd is for. Speak your
I
truth.
couldn't get around to liking it. And I listened to some podcasts about it and people were a little less, they liked it more than I did. And I feel like I'm on an island here, but I don't know, maybe it was just in the headspace I was in that day. And if I went and watched it 2 weeks from now, I'd be like, oh yeah, that movie was actually good. But yeah, it was exhausting. And I don't like Bong Joon Ho, the director. I watched Memories of Murder the other day. Great movie.
Mm-hmm. I like that one. Yeah.
Right? I watched Snowpiercer a week before. Another movie that had that social commentary in it that Bong is generally known for in most of his movies. And it is like, it is not subtle with its social commentary, Snowpiercer.
No. Yeah.
But but it was entertaining as hell. Like, that movie is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that movie better than Mickey 17.
All right. Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, you're like, maybe if I went and saw this in like 2 weeks, I would just feel better about the whole thing. Brother, in 2 weeks, you may not be able to afford that movie ticket. We're all priced out of eggs. It's game over, man. I just made the most expensive waffles in my life last week.
See, I told you, man. What did I tell you? No eggs in your waffles. Now it's costing you more money.
Recession indicator. Can you put eggs in your waffles or not? Lady Gaga dropping a pop bangers album. Recession indicator.
Save money on eggs because we're going to need it for all things go. How's that for a bow tie on the top of the episode?
Perfect. That was great.
Yeah. While we're spending more money because we're checking our bags on Southwest.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Jesus Christ, we went long in this episode. Holy hell.
Hello. Like we said, recession indicator. It's back to our roots.
We had 3 bullet points on this show.
We had more than 3 bullet points.
And we yapped for an hour and 20 minutes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then sub points 6, 7, 8, 9. That's par for the course. Whatever. Get us out of here.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us this week on the show. Enjoy Formula One this weekend. It's back. Follow us at OHOBC Pod on all of your social media channels. And we'll talk to you next week, everybody. Goodbye.